today to be with us here at Commotion Miami Live. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and over to you.
Thank you, John, and thank you for that introduction. And yes, we're a little busy here, but hello, everybody. This Commotion Miami conference is a great example, an opportunity for top entrepreneurs and innovators worldwide to meet and to strengthen Miami-Dade's leadership role in transportation. Ever since New City's launched CoMotion in Los Angeles in 2017, I've wanted Miami-Dade County to host the conference here. And holding this event on a virtual platform extends our reach further than we ever imagined possible. In addition to that will be participating in the next 2 days, I'm very excited that we're launching CoMotion Labs here in Miami. This innovative laboratory has been more than a year in the making. It's an unprecedented consortium of international, national, and regional public and private stakeholders. Our CoMotion Lab partners include Uber, HNTB, Lacuna, Joby Aviation, VIA, and INRIX. This lab's primary goal is to improve mobility and transit in Miami-Dade County and South Florida. CoMotion Labs Miami will help our region lead the way in mobility solutions. I'm also proud of how our county will be using INRIX's road rules to communicate information with autonomous vehicles. This is really cutting-edge technology. The INRIX platform digitizes pickup and drop-off requests, so this will make it easier and safer to get automated vehicle service along with e-scooters. We're also launching the Miami-Dade Shared Mobility Plan. Miami-Dade has 5,500 miles of public roads, along with the airspace and maritime channels. This makes our county one of the world's most complex and varied testing grounds for all types of cutting-edge transportation options. We have a dense urban center. We have suburban and ex-urban sprawl. We also have developer-led communities near public transit. So we're the ideal location for developing everything from smart signal technology and ride-sharing apps to solar-powered water taxis, vertical takeoff and landing systems that operate like flying cars, the dream that we've always had for so many years. In Miami-Dade, we've also had the mindset and the tech-savvy workforce needed to rapidly move great new ideas from the drawing board to the street. Our county offers a winning trifecta for success. First, we have talented entrepreneurs. The Kauffman Foundation has long ranked us among the top in the nation for startup activity. Second, we have the ingenuity and drive as one of the world's most innovative and multicultural workforces. More than half of our 2.8 million residents were born in other countries, and they speak more than 100 languages. And third, we have a rapidly growing population that is eager to embrace creative mobility solutions. Since I became mayor in 2011, the accelerating expansion of our county has put huge stresses on our transportation system. In fact, traffic congestion and the need for improved public transit are two of the top concerns of our constituents. So creating viable long-term solutions to our transportation infrastructure has been one of the top priorities of my administration. There are many local and global partners working with the county to meet these challenges head on. We've often referred to as the gateway to the Americas. Miami-Dade is actually the portal to the world, with many of our trade and technology partners based not only in Central and South America, but also in Europe and Asia. The county is working closely with the private sector to advance transit-oriented developments that leverage private sector investments to meet our community needs. To this end, last year we celebrated the groundbreaking of the link at Douglas and the ribbon cutting of Motion at Dadeland. Those new developments next to our Metro Rail stations offer nearby residents all the benefits of an exciting urban lifestyle without ever needing to worry about a car, parking, or traffic. So as you can see, we are brimming with mobility solutions here in Miami-Dade. We have the talent, the ingenuity, and the public-private partnerships to get the job done. And for all these reasons, I'm really glad that everyone is participating today and tomorrow in CoMotion Miami. This is a great conference that will help shape our future. Now, John, I think you have a few questions for me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do indeed have some questions. In fact, we have quite a few hundred questions. I won't ask all from people dialing in. I will not ask you every one of them. But let me begin by just, because COVID really is in the news in a big way, and Miami-Dade County is being hit hard, as is the rest of Florida. And I know that you and your county team have been working really 24/7 to readjust transit, to restructure the frequency of transit, to make sure public has access, et cetera, while keeping it safe for riders. So I think one of the questions that I have, that we have, is what are the lessons learned from this unprecedented emergency? And what are the best practices that are starting to emerge from this?
Well, one of the lessons learned from this is that, like we're having this virtual conference, um, in the age of before COVID-19, you'd have had thousands of people here in Miami-Dade County. And so there's a new way of doing business. Miami-Dade County itself, we have 28,000 employees. There are some jobs that we do that you have to do in the street. You have to go out and you have to basically touch people. Our fire rescue, police, fixing water and making sure our water infrastructure is working, and a host of other services, picking up garbage. You actually have to go out and do that. But 6,000 of our employees are now working out of home. And that means, in terms of traffic, that means I've taken at least 12,000 trips off the road. And you multiply this by everybody else that's finding out that, hey, you actually can work from home. I'm actually in my house right now. I'm not in my office. And I'm actually found that I'm much more productive in my home than I am in my office. And I've been able, I can have all kinds of meetings, direct the operations of what's happening in the county from my home, never have to leave my home, and it's good. What does that do? Well, it's relieved the stress on our transportation system. It's relieved the stress on our road infrastructure. We don't have the kind of traffic that we had in the past, even though we've opened up the economy for the most part. 95% of our economy is back open again. We don't have the same kind of traffic problems because we have so many people that are now figured out, hey, you can work at home. Now that poses other challenges, because now what about public transit? What we have done in public transit is that we have scaled back our public transit. Initially, because we did shut down the economy, there were few people on the road. But now, as more and more people are on the road, we now have to recalculate what are the patterns of the new commuters, where are they going, and then add more frequency to that, less frequency to those routes that really haven't come back yet. And then how do we protect our bus drivers and our employees in the age of COVID-19? And so we've installed shields and barriers. We're still a free system, so people don't have to pay. But eventually, we have to figure out how we're gonna get fares being paid by people that board buses. And so that causes also, again, we have to innovate and think of new ways of doing it so that we keep both our passengers safe and our drivers safe. We've had to initiate there are places where people can sit and there are places that people can't sit. And so our buses have less of a capacity than they used to in the past. So we may have to add more frequency to get people on. So COVID-19 is a very interesting challenge for everything. There are silver linings to COVID-19. Like, if it hadn't been for COVID-19, nobody would have pushed this envelope to start working from the home. And things that we never thought could be done from the home can be. Things that you thought that could, like inspections, our building inspectors, they're doing their inspections from the home. And then we're asking people to take a telephone and say, okay, well, I want to see this spot, I want to see that spot, I want to see that spot. And actually now our inspectors are much more productive than they were in the past, because they don't have, and I'm also taking trips off the road. They don't have to go to each individual work site. And so all of that is helping our transit. So COVID-19, it's been, it's very serious disease and with serious consequences, but it's also, like everything else in a crisis, there is opportunity, and it's pushed us to stretch that envelope and find new ways of doing things that, frankly, will probably be here long after COVID-19 is gone.
Indeed, that is the case. Mr. Mayor, you're widely known as the innovation mayor, and indeed you and Alice Bravo, who I know is about to speak, the head of your Department of Transportation and Public Works, received the Leadership and Innovation Award at the Florida Automated Vehicles Summit last year. What attracts you? I've always wanted really to ask you, what attracts you in particular to the cutting edge of mobility? mean, for example, you've been more focused on the possibilities of urban air mobilities, of electrical vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, for example, than any other mayor that I'm aware of, or that I've spoken to, certainly in North America. What do you look to technology and innovation to solve for, Mr. Mayor?
A lot of problems. And so where do I get that from? Probably because I have a can-do attitude. I'm not a person that looks at something and say, oh, gee, that'll never work. Look, if you go back to 1900 and the first cars when they first came out, and they were noisy, they weren't very fast, and they were smoky, and they scared the horses. And I'm sure there was a lot of people said, oh, that'll never work. You know, the horses are here, they're better, they can do this better. Look, that thing will die out, and we're going to go back to horses. 10 years later, they were completely wrong. Horses were there. I mean, horses were gone and cars were here. So when I look at new technology, I look at the possibilities of that technology and what it could be, not 5 years from now, but 10 years from now, 20 years from now. And so I always want to be on the cutting edge of that, because I want to be on the first step of that technology. And I'd like my community to be on that first step of that technology, because if we are, it's opportunity. It's opportunity for us. It's opportunity to garner work for our citizens. It's a way to get a better quality of life. And so when I look at a vertical takeoff, vehicles right now, yes, there are limitations, absolutely. But I believe in the innovation of mankind, of men and women. Smart men and women are going to always find a solution to this problem, that problem. And before long, yes, we will have vertical takeoff and landing vehicles that are going to be crisscrossing our city and cities across the world, and make mobility, much better, and eventually be very affordable to the masses, which is what happened with the car. Initially, the car was just for the rich, and then Henry Ford came around and made it a car for everybody.
Right.
That's what's going to happen, because I just don't look at what it is today, but I look at the possibility of what it could be, and it goes all the way back to my training as a firefighter. I always look for the cutting edge technology, and I was a paramedic. The cutting edge technology that I can put on an EMS truck that would save lives and improve the quality of life, and always be on the cutting edge, always be on the cutting edge. And then your organization is also benefit from that, because if you are pushing innovation and you're always pushing the cutting edge, then your organization will follow and be an innovator in its field. And what does that mean? It means that your organization will do better and will do a better job for the people it's serving, the people of Miami-Dade.
So what is your guess on when I'll be able to take a electric air taxi from downtown Miami to Miami Beach?
I would hope, with COVID-19, we were really hot on this until COVID-19 hit, and now all of our efforts are now on COVID-19.
Right.
But I would hope that innovation is still happening around the world. There are multiple companies working on this. We have spoken to multiple companies about it. How we start off, how we jumpstart this. You start with baby steps, and then you walk, and then you run. And so I would hope within the next, within 5 years, you'll be able to see vertical takeoff and landing systems here operating in Miami-Dade County on a, novice level, beginner's level, which will then pave the way for the regulations that have to be, put in place by the FAA. How do you operate it? What's the legality of it? Where do they land? How many strips do they need? What is it? And then how do you store them? All those things we're going to try to work out here. But I would hope that in the next 5 years, and hope the next administration takes the same kind of interest in this new technology to work out to become a test bed for the world of how this can work around the world. But that Miami will always be known as the place where it all started.
Well, I'm with you there, Mr. Mayor. Now, for the last couple of minutes, we have a couple of questions, similar questions, and they're about your initiative a few years back to bring together all the aspects of mobility into one department. I think it was in 2016 that you took that decision. And it was a leap to merge traffic signaling, engineering, highways, bicycles, and pedestrian, transit planning, transit operation, and even the for-hire transportation space into one body. Some even refer to it as the mobility management agency. And it's quite an unusual model for for any city in North America. So what drove you to take such a radical decision 4 years ago?
Well, yeah, I just didn't think it was all that radical. I mean, buses travel on roads and, trains, it's all about moving people. It's all about moving goods and people. So, and also takes away the friction between what's more important, the roads or public transit. Actually, they're both important. And so when you have separate agencies, they're always fighting. You have to be inside government to know that there's an internal friction and also this battle for resources all the time. And so if you're the transit agency, you want as much money for transit as possible. And if you're the public works side, where you want roads and traffic signals and all that, you want as much money as possible for the roads. So you put it under one agency, and then, that agency should be able to prioritize its needs to best suit the needs of the people and how to move people around, Miami-Dade County. And so, some folks said, oh, we have to invest, everything's got to be in mass transit. Well, wait a minute, 97% of the people here don't use mass transit. They use some kind of rubber tired vehicle to get themselves around, including our buses, right? So, you put that together, and then sometimes, the public works is in charge of this permitting that this transit agency needs. And so it's much better, works better when it's all put together, and they're all rowing in the same direction. And it's all about, again, what's best for the people of Miami-Dade County. Not what's best for my agency, but what's best for the people of Miami-Dade County.
Indeed. Thank you very, very much, Mr. Mayor. And you have all our support. And by the way, we're so excited to be continuing this work with you and your teams in the form of C-Lab, CoMotion Lab, which you launched just a few minutes ago. It's a marvelous project, and we're really excited to roll up our sleeves with our other partners on this. So right now, we'd like to take a little break before we start the first workshop, which is brought to you by Move It out of Israel, which has just been acquired for almost $1 billion by Intel. And that's the first of a few workshops today brought to you by Deutsche Bahn, Founder Shield, Wayra, and the City of London, London and Partners. And also we're meeting again in a few minutes for our first panel on reimagining mobility for a changed world, and what a changed world it is. So stay there, stay tuned, and we'll be back with you in just a few minutes. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, John.